Okay, I want to talk about the violated ceasefire agreement yesterday, or exactly what happened and how we should understand this. Now, before Trump's phone call with Vladimir Putin and Putin getting on or at the time saying, I've just ordered the military not to hit any infrastructure, and then violating that shortly thereafter, a couple hours before that, I put this out. Violated ceasefire agreements. How long on average does it take Putin to violate a ceasefire? I couldn't have possibly imagined that it would happen, that it would make these ceasefire agreements, how long it took him to violate that, look like a long, long time when it really wasn't. Okay, let's start here. So go back to watch this video I put out 23 hours ago, and then just a few hours later, you see what we're about to see today. So let's start here. You know that Zelensky had this meeting in Saudi Arabia. They came out and they said there's no military solution. We're going to have this ceasefire agreement. Zelensky signed on. Well, it's the Zelensky government, the Ukrainians sign on to that. After they sign on to that, Zelensky, since the U.S.-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia, Russia launched 1,342 guided bombs, 580 Shahed drones, 44 Lancet drones, 8 missiles, 250 other strikes. Okay, so we get to yesterday, and we get to the phone call that, the wonderful phone call that Putin is having with Trump. And Trump says, my phone call with conversation today with President Putin of Russia was very good and productive. And they talk about an agreement to an immediate ceasefire on all energy and infrastructure, with an understanding that we'll be working quickly toward having a complete ceasefire, and so on and so forth. Okay, so first, Trump was made to wait for an hour before he took the call. So that's kind of snub number one. Then Putin says, okay, sure, yeah, I'll order them immediately to stop attacking energy infrastructure. Well, that lasted about 3 hours. I'm not exactly sure if it's over or under 3 hours, but it was about 1 o'clock or so. And then, well, before, yeah, it was somewhere around 1 o'clock or so when this happened. And then about 3:30, we see something changed miraculously. Again, Sputnik came out and said Witkoff confirmed that Putin instructed Russian military to halt attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure within 10 minutes of his call with Trump. Okay? And then what happened? Well, according to the official Russian press release during a 1.5-hour phone call with Trump. Now, again, this was huge. This was the longest phone call between two presidents ever. And so that's how this was. I don't know exactly what all they talked about exactly, but this was part of the agreement. Putin agreed to halt attacks on Ukraine's critical energy infrastructure for 30 days. An hour after the call, Russia struck the power grid in Sloviansk, Donetsk region, leaving the city without electricity. 1 hour after the phone call. Okay, so that's what they say here. I mean, I gave it at least a window of about 3 hours, somewhere within that. Okay, so on March 18th, shortly after Russian President Putin agreed to a 30-day cessation of attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure during a call with U.S. President Trump, Russian forces conducted airstrikes on the eastern Ukrainian city of Sloviansk. These strikes targeted the city's energy facilities, resulting in significant power outages affecting a substantial portion of the population. Local reports indicate that the assault on Sloviansk's energy infrastructure was executed using guided aerial bombs. This attack occurred less than an hour after the announcement of the agreed-upon energy infrastructure ceasefire, raising serious concerns about Russia's commitment to the truce. In addition to the energy infrastructure, residential areas in the nearby city of Kramatorsk were also struck by guided aerial bombs, causing further civilian distress. So that's what actually happened. Now, I was on the phone with Greg Terry at the time, and we were talking about like everything that was going on immediately at the time. And then we did this video about here's what what was in the Trump phone call, and he was reading the Russian and Ukrainian telegram and that sort of thing, and we're just kind of putting our heads together trying to understand what's going on. But that's what happened. And in Sloviansk, where's Sloviansk? Sloviansk is over here in Donetsk, near the border. Let's zoom out a little bit. So it's over. Or is it Sloviansk is over here? And yeah, I mean, they hit it within an hour, I gave it a conservative window of about 3 hours, but within an hour. Okay. Then there's more. Okay. Do you want to have a good laugh right now? Are you ready for it? So Russians are now saying that there were no missiles and drone strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure last night. They say they themselves downed all their drone launched to destroy Ukrainian energy facilities immediately following the Trump-Putin call. And everything that happened last night was a Ukrainian provocation. Seriously, they're saying this. They are actually saying that what happened last night, the very drones that they launched, that they hit Sloviansk with, were not their drones. The drones that they sent out, they immediately dispatched by their own hands, and then the Ukrainians created a provocation. Like, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes, right? That's the kind of thing here. Okay, so here it is in Noel reports. Like, I try to confirm things. So here is Ilya Pomerenko saying this here first, and then here's Noel reports alleged claim from the Russian MOD, quote, at the time of the order to temporarily cease attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, 7 Russian attack drones were in the air, targeting facilities in the Mykolaiv region. Russian air defense shot down 6 drones using the Panzer system and one by a fighter jet. Okay. Yeah, well, so why did Sloviansk get hit in their energy facility? Like, what's going on here? So, okay, this is the kind of thing that they say. They make these kind of things up all the time. It's fascinating. Now, Boris Johnson said this, what a surprise. Putin rejects unconditional ceasefire. Like, we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know that it was good. Like, what he did surprise us with was how fast it took. Even I was surprised by that. Even I was surprised by that after doing the other video here. This, like, it was just a couple videos back about the violated ceasefire agreements. I mean, that even after doing that, I found that surprising. Okay. He said, what a surprise. Putin rejects unconditional ceasefire. He wants to keep bombing and killing innocent Ukrainians. He wants Ukraine disarmed. He wants Ukraine neutralized. He wants to make Ukraine a vassal state of Russia. No truer words have ever been spoken. He wants to make Ukraine a vassal state of Russia. He isn't negotiating. He is laughing at us. Now, the beauty of this is that Boris Johnson saying that, Boris Johnson can talk to Trump and Trump will listen, right? Because he's kind of ideologically on the same kind of page. So when Boris Johnson is saying he isn't negotiating, he's laughing at us, Trump will hear it differently than when, say, Chuck Schumer says that, or another leading Democrat says that kind of thing. It'll be received differently by Trump. So the leading Republicans need to be very vocal about this in the United States and say this kind of thing. Like, wait a minute, you made this deal and then he did what? Like, that's what needs to happen here. Okay, here is Witkoff, the negotiator, talking about the wonders of the negotiation. It's unbelievable.
First of all, we made more progress yesterday than has been made in the last 3.5 years.
What?
The 2 leaders actually talked and committed to cessation of attacks on energy infrastructure and civilian infrastructure.
And then it was violated within an hour to 3 hours. I mean, but he's out there talking about it as if this is actually like happening and being a good thing. It's absolutely mind-numbing to watch. Okay, then it gets even worse. Russia strikes a hospital in Sumy, and the consequences. Late on 18 March, a Russian attack targeted a medical facility in Sumy. 147 patients evacuated, including 9 with limited mobility. Children's hospital also damaged by the blast wave. Rescuers contained fire swiftly. Fortunately, no casualties reported. Another gesture of goodwill for Moscow. Okay, and then as if like life imitating art kind of thing. So Darth Putin put this out yesterday, 19 hours ago. So this would have been about the time that, they were having their talks, have agreed to stop bombing infrastructure. So I'll have more time to focus on military targets like hospitals. He was joking, tongue in cheek. And then, yeah, they bombed the hospital last night. This was just out just an hour or 2 ago. How about that? So that's where Russia's mentality is. Okay, that's all that I have, my friends. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.